Good morning and welcome to the Dunton Homestead. So this past week I was able to do what I wanted to do as far as getting the fall garden in. I was able to get garlic, onions, carrots, and some beet seedlings that I had started. I'm not sure what else I plan on putting in. I know that today I want to maybe start some spinach. I want to see what kind of greens will work in cooler climates and see what else might work for growing down here. I didn't grow anything last fall, and I've just learned this year that there are things that are possible to grow. So I'm going to go ahead. Well, the only thing I did grow last year was garlic, but I put it in about 6 weeks later than what I did this year. So here's a look what I got done last week. Good afternoon from the Dunton Homestead. Welcome. Today I'm going to try and start working in the fall garden, which again I feel as I have all of the year of 2022 feeling like I'm running behind. But tonight I'm going to try and get some garlic into the ground. I'm going to try and plant twice as much as what I did last year. We planted like, I want to say about, I think it was like 75 bulbs or something, and we ended up getting like 68. actually did well. So I took the largest bulbs, and those are what I'm going to be pulling the clothes for to plant tonight. Now it's October 5th right now. I'm putting these in probably 6 weeks earlier than what I did last year. So I guess I'm really not late if you compare it to last year. I'm just comparing it to I know what other people have already put in. I'm going to try and do a little bit more organized this year. I'm going to use rusty old muffin pan to help with spacing. I wish I had a fancy planting board like Hollis has made for himself of Hollis and NC Homestead. I think that's what their name. I know their name is Hollis and Nancy. I'm not sure what their title of their homestead is, but I don't have time to try and make that, and I'm not actually a woodworker, so I don't even play one on TV. So I measured out 2-foot wide rows, and I'm going to do the best I can to go ahead and plant them evenly, and I'm going to shoot for trying to plant like 150. If 150 take, then that's 150 heads of garlic, and the hope is that using them, the largest ones, that will make for large bulbs in the springtime. These will take residence for over 200 days. So I chose to put them here thinking that in the spring, well, I'll be planting cucumbers probably, or peas or beans, something that won't inhibit the garlic, won't be crushing the garlic. I always seem to have a problem with spacing myself, so I want to make sure that I'm trying to think ahead on that. So I will do periodic updates, and we'll see what happens. I've marked off the rows. I brought out some eggshells that I have ground up. That's right now the only fertilizer that I have to work with. I'll be getting some more fish emulsion and me watering them in as soon as I get some. And as soon as we actually have the compost for from the chickens, then we'll go ahead and we'll add that. And I really likes fertilizer from what I understand, so I gotta make sure I'm on that. I ended up not using the muffin pan. I just kind of eyed it for distance in planting. All the garlic is planted now. It's about approximately, honestly, about 150 that I planted, give or take. I'm going to go ahead and cover up the ones. I had to do some extra along the sides, what I had originally done, just to be able to have room to put them all. They're all about 6 inches spaced apart, which should be a good amount of spacing to not inhibit their growth. And I'm going to go ahead and cover her up, and then we throw some black cow, and tomorrow probably some leaves. Welcome to the Dunton Homestead. Well, today I got home and did a little bit of mowing, only for the purpose of mulching up some leaves. We don't have a whole lot of leaves that have fallen yet, but I did find some, and I wanted those leaves mulched up so I could put them on the garlic that I had planted last night. So as you can see, everything is still pretty green where I'm at. We have one tree, I believe it's a dogwood, over on my father's part of the yard that shows some color. But I was able to get some leaves down by the woods, and I went ahead and mowed and mulched them and put them on the garlic that I planted. I did string off the garlic so I remember exactly where they were, and I'm trying to get better at spacing within the garden as well as in the aisles where you can actually walk. So I figured maybe string would help me get that established. Any help I can get for spacing, I'm gonna do. Speaking of which, I purchased this off of Amazon the other day, and this is supposed to help me with the spacing. So tonight I'm going to be planting onions. I believe they're Walla Walla onions, and now I'm just worried that they may be a spring onion and maybe I wasn't supposed to plant them for the fall, but we'll just see what happens. But with this little board that has the holes, comes with a card that tells you what vegetables to plant in which colors. So it should be pretty easy even for someone like me. So I should be able to handle this. And in the onions, I'll be using the yellow holes for spacing. Now these are the onions that I grew from seed that I've been wanting to put in the garden for a couple weeks now. Last week when we were expecting Hurricane Ian, I put them, these two flats I put in the garage just so they wouldn't get beaten on. And they lost a little bit of color, so I'm hoping that they are able to come back. These ones here are actually ones that I planted, I want to say a couple months ago, and I pulled them up because I wanted Rick to be able to rototill this for me so that it wouldn't be all packed down. We have clay, so everything gets packed down pretty easily, and we haven't amended it enough to make a difference in it yet at this point. I'm going to go ahead and replant those ones that I pulled up before he rototilled, and just cross my fingers that they work out. But I'm going to go ahead and get started planting on that. So when I started these seeds, I'd watched a few videos to figure out how to actually start growing onion seeds. Most people buy onion sets, and that's how they start it, but I wanted to start it from seeds. It's a whole lot cheaper to do that if you can be successful. In different videos, talked about doing it different ways. One of the, I think it was M.I. Gardner that I was watching, and he basically was, if it was him, he had just dumped a bunch of seeds in the flats, and he explained that they actually separate pretty well from each other if you've got two like growing next to each other. They separate pretty well together, and they do. You can separate them without damaging the roots too much. So the soil that was in the flats is wetter than it should be. So I'm kind of glad I'm getting them in the ground right now. But then I took them out of the flat already just to make it easier to separate. This tray here for guidance on how to space them is meant for seeds. So when I'm putting this in the hole, I am actually going to have to make the hole a little bit bigger just so that I can actually get all the roots covered, but I can still use it as a guideline. It's neat how some of them have already started to form bulbs. Hopefully when they get into the ground they'll overwinter well. Initially I planted 300 seeds. I'm not sure how many actually came up. I'll figure that out after I get them in the ground. The board came with this nifty little thing which has numbers on it for 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. For onion sets, you are supposed to plant them like 1 to 1.5 inches down. I couldn't get a definitive answer on what this would be called. At least I wasn't looking it up right, apparently. I have no idea why I couldn't come up with the word of onion seedling at that time. The Walla Walla onions are a sweet onion. They can get up to 2 pounds. And I'm hoping that I'm actually leaving enough space for that to happen. I tend to crowd everything. It seems to be a big problem of mine. I haven't figured out how to control myself on that. If I grow 100 seedlings, I feel like I need to put 100 seedlings in the ground. So 18 down, and we'll see how many to go when I get done. If I had to pick one thing that has been really super hard to grow for me, it would be carrots. So I'm gonna try again. I got 2 different varieties this kind. I got them from a seed company called Johnny Selected Seeds, which has been highly praised amongst very successful homesteaders, so I figured I'd give it a try. I've got 2 different varieties. I have one called Deep Purple and one called Bolero. So I'm going to do 1 row of each and see what happens from there. Now I have my handy dandy new seed chart board, which I really like. It worked really well for me with the onions earlier this week. And I'm using the red holes as a guide. So there will be a total of 16 carrots if they all germinate per square foot. Now, one of the things that I like about these seeds is they have the clay on them. Carrot seeds are so small. It makes it much easier not to overplant and then have to go ahead and weed out. So I'm going to do 2-foot rows over here, two foot sections over here, and I'll probably go 4 down and just see how that works. I did not plant any carrots last fall. All my carrots growing has been in the spring so far, and maybe that's why it doesn't work for me, because it is too warm here where we are. So I'm going to go ahead and continue got okra behind me. Last night's challenge with the onions is that the fence I was up against is all raspberries, and that is painful. So last night wasn't much fun. The carrots I have gone ahead and covered with cardboard. It's only been a couple of days. It could be a week, maybe a little bit longer before they start springing up. They are clay pellets, so it does take a little bit longer for them to germinate. And here I just planted a flat of beets that I had gotten started. I had other flats of plants that I just never got into the ground. These still looked fairly healthy in the flats, so I put them in. I don't know if they grow in the fall, but I figured I would go ahead, and nothing ventured, nothing gained. So that's what I did to prepare for the fall garden and getting in what I needed to get in. If you enjoy watching these videos, go ahead, hit like and subscribe. We enjoy talking to you in the comments, so keep that up, and be a blessing. Be blessed.